Have you ever put your full trust in your daily meals, not realizing that one innocent-looking item could be quietly choking your blood flow? Let me tell you about Walter, a 75-year-old retiree from Ohio. Just yesterday, he underwent brain surgery. He's not some rare medical anomaly. He's the kind of guy who plays cards on Thursdays and has never lit a cigarette in his life. What landed him in the hospital wasn't bad luck or genetics. It was his diet, ordinary, everyday food that many of us have on our shelves right now. Walter didn't live off fast food or sugary treats piled sky high. No, it was the simple, familiar meals he trusted that betrayed him. When I visited him last week, something he said struck a chord. I thought I was doing everything right. But what clogged my arteries wasn't one major mistake, it was 5 small habits I never questioned. In this video, I'll walk you through Walter's journey and reveal the 5 common foods he wishes he'd eliminated years ago. You'll discover how they silently affected his arteries, his brain, and his overall vitality, especially relevant for older adults trying to eat normally. Stay with me until the end. These insights might help you sidestep surgery, regain your energy, and preserve your independence. Sometimes, life-changing truths hide in the things we ignore most. Let's begin. 1. Processed meats, the normal habit that slowly strangles. Walter started most mornings with bacon or ham. Occasionally, he'd opt for deli turkey in a sandwich or a few slices of sausage with dinner. It all seemed routine, nothing excessive, just a simple way to add protein to his meals. But what felt harmless gradually added up. When doctors examined him, they found severe plaque buildup in his arteries. And once they reviewed his eating habits, they weren't surprised. Processed meats are loaded with saturated fats and preservatives like sodium nitrate, which corrode the delicate lining of your blood vessels. That damage makes it easier for cholesterol and calcium to stick, triggering the slow formation of artery-clogging plaque. Walter didn't notice the damage immediately. It started as mild fatigue when climbing stairs, then occasional dizziness. But the real harm had been festering silently. That's the thing about these foods, they don't cause an instant crash. They chip away at your health, day by day. Processed meats are often marketed as convenient sources of protein, and that's what Walter believed. But the salt alone was enough to push his blood pressure skyward, stressing his arteries to the breaking point. Even worse, the nitrates in these meats fuel chronic inflammation, a major driver of heart disease and stroke, especially in older adults. Walter told me, if I had known, I'd have thought twice before making bacon a habit. He's right. Small, unexamined choices, like what's on your breakfast plate, can determine your future well-being. You don't need to quit processed meats overnight, but even cutting back can give your arteries space to breathe and your brain the oxygen it needs to stay sharp. 2. Baked goods and packaged pastries, the sweet trap. Walter had a soft spot for sweets. Not overindulgent, just a muffin in the morning or a cookie after dinner. Sometimes banana bread from a neighbor or a boxed snack cake at the checkout. These little comforts filled the quiet after his wife passed. They brought a sense of routine, but also a hidden danger. Many of these baked goods are crammed with refined sugars and, more insidiously, trans fats. These unhealthy fats hide under labels like partially hydrogenated oils. They help pastries stay flaky and extend shelf life, but inside the body, they do long-term damage. Trans fats boost bad cholesterol, LDL, while suppressing the good kind, HDL, a recipe for arterial disaster. Over time, they narrow your arteries and restrict blood flow to the brain. But it doesn't stop there. The refined sugars in these pastries spike blood sugar levels rapidly, only to crash just as fast, damaging blood vessel linings and accelerating insulin resistance. For older adults, whose systems are less equipped to handle sugar swings, this becomes a serious problem. Walter told me, it was just a small treat, what harm could it do? But daily indulgences, even modest ones, build into a heavy toll. And many baked goods are branded as low-fat or made with whole grains, but still contain additives that can mess with your metabolism and spark inflammation. Walter didn't know, and neither do most people. He started swapping pastries for fruit, a handful of walnuts, or plain Greek yogurt. It wasn't an overnight shift, but within weeks, his cravings diminished. His blood pressure began to normalize, and those morning dizzy spells vanished. The change was subtle but powerful. If you've read this far and this is resonating with you, type #2 in the comments to let me know you're still here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. It helps us bring you more helpful content like this. 3. Flavored coffee creamers, a sweet sip with a bitter cost. Walter described his morning coffee as his start button. But every cup came with a splash of flavored creamer, French vanilla one day, hazelnut the next. Just a touch of sweetness and smoothness, he thought. Nothing serious. But that daily indulgence came with hidden consequences. Those seemingly innocent creamers, especially the non-dairy ones, are packed with synthetic ingredients, hydrogenated oils, corn syrup solids, chemical stabilizers. They're engineered to taste rich and creamy while boasting long shelf lives. But your body doesn't process them like real food. In fact, many of those oils behave just like trans fats in your body, even when the label claims 0 grams. That's because small amounts can be legally rounded down but add up quickly with daily use. Walter used to pour without measuring, just until the coffee looked right. But every cup quietly fed the inflammation in his arteries, raising bad cholesterol and lowering the good kind. Over time, his blood vessels weakened and plaque took hold. Here's what makes it worse: many seniors turn to flavored creamers thinking they're dodging sugar or heavy cream. But they're trading one problem for another. The artificial sweeteners and oils might keep calorie counts low, but they confuse your metabolism and cause insulin spikes, especially harmful for aging bodies that are slower to recover. Walter said, "It's just creamer. How bad can it be?" But once he switched to a splash of real milk and started reading labels more closely, he felt the difference. His chest tightness eased, his energy lasted longer, and his mornings felt lighter. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. If you wouldn't spoon corn syrup solids onto your toast, why stir them into your coffee? These small, daily habits shape your long-term health. If flavored creamers are part of your routine, take a second look. Your morning brew might only need a tiny tweak to protect your heart and sharpen your mind. 4. Canned soups, the hidden salt trap that starves the brain. Walter loved soup. It reminded him of simpler times, cold afternoons warmed by bowls of chicken noodle or tomato basil. Convenient, affordable, and easy to prepare. But behind the comfort was a serious health hazard: salt. And lots of it. Most canned soups are loaded with sodium to preserve flavor and extend shelf life. A single serving can contain more than half the recommended daily sodium intake, and most people eat the whole can. This high salt load stiffens arteries, spikes blood pressure, and severely reduces blood flow to the brain. Over time, that reduced flow can impair memory, focus, and even contribute to cognitive decline. Walter noticed he was forgetting names, misplacing keys more often, and feeling foggy by mid-afternoon. He blamed it on aging. But his neurologist pointed to his diet and the soup he thought was harmless. Beyond salt, many canned soups also carry MSG, monosodium glutamate, and preservatives that disrupt gut health and fuel inflammation. And if you're an older adult, the effects show up faster. Your kidneys process salt less efficiently, and your brain becomes more sensitive to changes in blood pressure. When Walter switched to low-sodium homemade soups, with fresh herbs and real vegetables, he saw a transformation. His thinking became clearer, his mood lifted, and he felt more in control of his body again. "I didn't expect soup to be the problem," he said. But it was like taking off a pair of foggy glasses. Let me ask you, when's the last time you checked the sodium label on your favorite soup? If this is hitting close to home, comment number 4 below. It helps others know they're not alone, and your insight might just help someone else. 5. Vegetable oils, the misleading health food. Vegetable oil sounds healthy, right? That's what Walter thought too. Canola, corn, soybean oil, it's what many of us grew up with. He used it for stir-frying, baking, even drizzling over vegetables. But this so-called healthy staple is often heavily refined, chemically processed, and high in omega-6 fatty acids, which promote inflammation when consumed in excess. Here's the issue: your body needs a balance of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. But with vegetable oils flooding packaged foods and home cooking, that balance is lost. Chronic inflammation takes root and your arteries suffer. they become inflamed, stiff, and narrowed, reducing the oxygen-rich blood your brain and heart desperately need. Walter had no idea this oil was fueling inflammation from the inside. It wasn't until he visited a nutritionist that he discovered healthier alternatives like olive oil, avocado oil, or even coconut oil in moderation. Within a few months of swapping oils, his joint pain eased, and his blood work improved dramatically. He summed it up perfectly: the oils I thought were helping were hurting me. That one change, just replacing the oil, became a turning point. So, what's in your pantry? If you've been using vegetable oil daily, take this as your sign to reconsider. And if you're still with me, drop a quick number 5 in the comments to show you're taking control of your health. Final thoughts: the power of awareness. Walter's story isn't rare, it's just untold. He didn't smoke. He didn't drink heavily. He wasn't reckless. He was simply unaware that 5 everyday foods were slowly stealing his strength and clarity. Artery damage isn't always loud. It's subtle at tiring walks, cloudy thinking, restless sleep. Until one day, it screams. But here's the good news: you don't need a radical overhaul. Tiny, consistent changes, one ingredient, one habit at a time, can add up to a longer, clearer, and more independent life. Just like Walter, you have a choice. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It tells YouTube to share it with more people who need it. Leave a comment below and let me know which food surprised you most. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week, we're diving into the best foods that clear blocked arteries naturally. Your journey to better health doesn't have to be complicated, but it does start with awareness. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay kind, and take care of that amazing body of yours.